Coming up on 60 Minutes. Jonny Two Guns Walker and Nick McKenzie face to face.
You posted about me online that I was a dog, and if I around I'd find out. What did you mean by that?
It's pretty clear what it says.
As the feared former bikie enforcer,
If you were a boss, would you do things unsafe if I come told you not to?
takes aim at the CFMEU.
Be careful who you trust. Be careful who you call your brother.
That's next on 60 Minutes.
Plenty has been said about the far-reaching investigation by 60 Minutes, The Age and the Sydney Morning Herald that exposed corruption and criminality within Australia's most powerful union, the CFMEU. But there's been a deafening silence from the gangland figures at the core of this scandal. That is, until now. A fortnight ago, I got a call from a man with a fearsome underworld reputation. I thought he was calling to threaten me, and with good reason, as you'll see. But former bikie enforcer Jonny Two Guns Walker insisted he wanted to clear the air and settle the score. Not just with me, but with the union bosses he once regarded as brothers, that he now accuses of betrayal. Make no mistake, Jonny Two Guns Walker is a formidable and intimidating man, with a criminal record to match. After all, the champion boxer turned Bandidos Sergeant at Arms served 8 years in jail for bashing a stranger to death in a bikie clubhouse. It's a chapter of his life, he insists, is very much in the past. Jonny, thanks for joining us. Grab a seat. But what's irking this underworld tough guy is his treatment by the CFMEU and how he's been represented. And tonight, he wants to set the record straight. You're speaking to me, the reporter that you say lit you up unfairly. Why tell your story to me in 60 Minutes?
Nothing better than put it on the same program that not long ago was putting us down. I mean, it's good for other people to come on here. Union bosses coming here to have their say, but why not the smaller fish who have lost their jobs? I'm not doing nothing wrong by getting up here and speaking out for other workers that need a voice. You say you're reformed. What does that mean? Everyone deserves a second chance and everyone deserves a job. I'm a family man, Nick. You know what I mean? I've got a son, 18. I've got 2 younger kids with my new partner, Jess, 5 and 4. Man, we do the family things. Can't get much more reformed than that.
But Jonny Walker continues to pay a hefty price for his bikie connections and the sins of his past. Last year, when 60 Minutes exposed widespread corruption, including infiltration by underworld figures and bikies of the CFMEU, his hardman reputation came under scrutiny. And not long after that, he was booted out of his job as a highly paid union delegate. Jonny Walker spent time in jail for manslaughter, bikie club member, at least former, a notorious reputation.
Well, sorry, his name is Jonny Two Guns Walker. That's an unpromising start, you'd have to agree.
Senior barrister Jeffrey Watson SC was appointed chief investigator of the CFMEU by its administrator last year. He doesn't buy into the notion of the union being a place of reform for criminals. Why did the CFMEU, senior members of it, want bikies working as their delegates on the big build?
They did provide muscle and a fear factor, which is very helpful in negotiations. They're also ruthless. So they will take those steps and measures which the contractors, the builders know could be taken. They're scared into submission. So once they got there, they were useful.
There's no arguing that Jonny Walker has lived one hell of a life. The son of a bikie boss, Walker was a champion boxer, but then followed in his father's footsteps as a bandido. On his release from jail, he says he parted ways with his bikie gang, intent on a new start. He found it with the CFMEU, Australia's most powerful union.
I was never hired because I was an ex-bandito. I was never hired because I was an ex-boxer. I was hired off a resume As a fitter and turner by trade, I'd worked since I was 14 to 30 years old, ended up in trouble, ended up in jail. But the truth is, I had done all my courses, OH&S courses, I've got all my tickets. They never asked me what happened in my bikie life or how many knockouts I had. You know what I mean? They wanted to see a resume of my work history.
Do you think in hindsight some in the union actually wanted your muscle to heighten or increase their power?
No. You don't need an ex-bikie or an ex-boxer there. You just need a man that's going to stand on his own 2 feet and know right from wrong.
But you are an ex-bikie, ex-boxer, and you are a bit scary. You acknowledge that?
Well, not really.
Listen, you posted about me online after my reporting that I was a dog, and if I'd around, I'd find out. What did you mean by that?
It's pretty clear what it says. I mean, you got on national TV with Jeffrey Watson, ran my name into the mud like I was just a piece of shit. My family had to watch that. Kids. You know what I mean? So, I mean, like I said, I stand on my own 2 feet and I don't take shit. Yeah, so I run my life a little bit like a union. I stand up for what's right. So anyone gets on TV and, you know, puts me down, I mean, that's, at the time, that's how I felt.
The entrance of Jonny Two Guns Walker.
Jonny is still fighting, stepping back into the ring at the age of 43.
Jonny Walker, what a return, 16 years in the making.
No one I've spoken to has a problem with an ex-con getting a job out of jail, be it in the ring or on a construction site. But the CFMEU didn't put him on the tools as a tradie or an unskilled worker. Instead, the union gave him a very powerful role as a health and safety delegate on major Victorian government infrastructure projects. Can you understand why many Australians might ask the question, why would the CFMEU put on as its health and safety rep on a major Labor government site a bloke who got out of prison for bashing a man to death in a bikie clubhouse?
That was 2014. This job happened in 2022, so a long time has gone since then. I understand people can raise eyebrows, but my knowledge of a construction site was much more than just bashing someone to death in a clubhouse.
But to put you on as the health and safety union rep, why not give you another job on the tools? Why make you a union rep with union power, given your tough background?
I mean, we can see where this question is going. I mean, did I have to muscle anyone to do my job right? No. I checked the job was running safe. I'd make sure my members are happy. The biggest people on the job sites that mess up are the bosses, not the unions.
What do you mean by that?
If a boss can pay someone a lot less to do the same job, they will. If they can treat someone like shit to do the same job, they will. And that's where people like us come in. I don't think you've got to be a tough guy to do it, but you've got to be a guy who can stand on his own 2 feet.
Again, just sitting here, you are a scary bloke. It simply is part of who you are. Are you the right sort of bloke to be a union health and safety rep on a government job?
Well, if you were a boss, would you do things unsafe if I come told you not to?
That answer sort of says it all, though, doesn't it?
Well, not really. Did I threaten you in that saying that? It's just do the right thing by the workers.
Workers and bosses who encountered Jonny describe him as intimidating, yet say he never threatened violence or took a bribe. But Jonny was part of a 3-man union team on his major government site. One of his fellow union delegates was a violent Rebels bikie who was running major rorts. The other is now accused of brutally bashing a fellow unionist. What about your fellow CFMEU delegate who is on CCTV brutally bashing another CFMEU delegate?
That sounds like a problem between them.
Well, it's clear evidence of real significant violence, union on union.
I don't know the story. I don't know what you're talking about. But you just said 2 union delegates having a crack. It sounds like a them problem.
It sounds like a violence problem, though. That's something that shouldn't be in the construction sector.
Did it happen on a job site?
Violence can happen anywhere. It's wrong, though, isn't it? Full stop.
Well, if someone breaks into my house, they're going to get a rude waking, aren't they?
Jonny abides by the underworld rule of refusing to talk about others. It's part of the brotherly code of silence that has made wrongdoing in the CFMEU so hard to fix. And perhaps explains why he says he sees no pattern in a raft of hard men like him being recruited by union bosses jostling for power. There's no coincidence that we had Hells Angels, Mongols, Rebels, ex-Bandido and you, quite a few bikie types given roles as CFMEU delegates, site reps. That can't be a coincidence.
I believe it can. I believe it can. And if someone was breaking the rule and doing anything wrong, where's the charges?
Victorian Premier Jacinta Allen has been quick to condemn the CFMEU for placing men with bikie gang links on her government's mega big build projects. But Jonny Walker is a big build fan. Some criminal bikies, not talking about you here, but others, holding a traffic sign, $500,000 a year. It sounds like a bit of a reward.
When you say criminal bikie, is that because they're about to commit a crime or they have committed a crime or they're ex, like me, out of prison and they deserve a job to change their life?
I'll give you an example. Shannon T-Boss, associate of the Rebels, done jail time, violent, erratic, and yet was a union delegate earning north of $300,000 and ultimately taxpayer dollars. Is that right?
Well, that bloke there worked alongside me and he was a damn good shoppy. Yeah, he'd done his job. He's done his job to exactly how he had to do it. And when you say associated bikie, associated this, that's all he say, or it's allegations. How can you be associated?
Well, he hangs out at the bikie at the Rebels clubhouse. He drove another delegate, union delegate, to hospital when he was shot. It's not allegations. He's there. It's fair income, isn't it?
I haven't seen the video footage.
Jonny may have a lot of respect for fellow delegates, but as you'll see, he has little sympathy for the union bosses who turned on their own when the heat was on. Did the CFMEU betray you? Jonny Two Guns Walker, a convicted criminal and former bikie, is having his say. Last year, he lost his job as a CFMEU delegate, with the union backing his sacking amid a major scandal revealed by 60 Minutes about gangland and bikie figures getting plum union jobs on government sites. What did the CFMEU let you go?
Well, stories that come up on this sort of show and news headlines, and obviously the pressure got too much, but I thought a union would have stuck together and fought for what's right. End of the day, we shouldn't be pushed over because the government thinks I shouldn't be on a big build job. And now, as we talk, there was a certain list going around with certain names that weren't allowed on jobs. That list now has disappeared. It was just a witch hunt, that's all it was, to break down a powerful union that was, in my eyes, everyone was doing the right thing. 50, 60 good blokes lost their jobs. Banned from government jobs. Can't work on fucking government jobs.
While Jonny has his issues with those who attack the union, he's scathing of the CFMEU bosses who buckled when the scandal broke.
When I call someone my brother or family, as it was, you stand up for them, wrong, right, you know what I mean?
You called these CFMEU bosses brother?
Well, I called them brother, yeah, I did, yeah. They were, that's what we were.
And why the falling out? Why did these blokes you called brother kick you to the curb?
I mean, you'd have to ask them for the bit on the answer. Was it to save himself? And then that didn't happen anyway? I believe that's what it was.
You told me you you hate certain union bosses. Why?
I mean, I guess they must feel the same way about me. I didn't get a phone call when I was let go. I got one phone call to be let go after I didn't hear from anyone. I treat them like brothers. I mean, hate's a strong word. I dislike them. Yeah, they don't come across my mind much. And if it does, it's not good.
Most of the union bosses who punted bikie gang-linked delegates to save their own skins ended up being sacked anyway. But we can reveal that influential CFMEU figures, like organiser Paul Simmers, who repeatedly pushed bikies onto construction companies, are now working for the new CFMEU administrator. It's unclear if Simmers is as bad as his ousted bosses, or was just following their orders. But Jonny Walker says there's no doubt the union was poisoned by the self-interest of those running it. Did the CFMEU betray you?
I think they betrayed themselves.
What do you mean?
Well, wear these T-shirts, touch one, touch all. we will strike. I didn't see much striking going on.
Union bosses looking after themselves, you say?
They were definitely more worried about themselves than us.
As ever, the code of silence means Jonny won't engage in talking about specific people, although there is an exception when it comes to the mention of John Setger, the union boss who quit on the eve of the scandal in the hope of suppressing it and ensuring his cushy future as an industry consultant.
We fought for our members on job sites. Why wouldn't the people in the office stand up for us?
You're saying John Setger, the CFMEU, betrayed delegates like you?
I mean, it's a lot bigger than John Setger, isn't it? But yeah, you think that if you shake a bloke's hand saying you're doing a good job, I mean, you'd fight for him when a paper made up an article about him, wouldn't you?
Do you think certain CFMEU bosses wanted to be gangsters themselves?
Do they want to be gangsters? Do they think they're gangsters? Maybe at home after they watched The Godfather or something a couple of times. The truth really came out when the pressure got put on by the government and the papers and delegates and he's a bikie and he's not a bikie. I mean, we got the arse. I'm sure a real gangster would have stood up and fought.
What do you mean by that?
If you got honour and respect and you got pride and someone's putting one of my brothers down, I'm going to stand up and fight.
Just to be clear, you're saying that these CFMEU bosses, your Setgers, your Spurner Basilises, wanted to be gangsters or at least look like them, but when it got tough, they didn't stand.
Well, they went and got bikie tattoos around their neck, didn't they? Huh? God forgives, but CFMEU doesn't.
Talking about Setger's tattoo.
Well,
what did you think when he went and got that?
You got to wear your tattoos proud, don't you? I mean, that would say to me, you should fight for your workers, fight for your delegates that are now being put off because of their past. Don't hit the eject switch and hope for the best. The union's bigger than one bloke.
Is John Setger a try-hard bikie with his tattoo?
I'd say he's a try. I wouldn't say he's a try-hard bikie. I mean, the tattoo's probably a bit much, isn't it? When you're stepping away, it's like leaving a bikie club and getting the tattoo on the next day. Doesn't make much sense.
Jonny Walker knows a thing or two about regret. Having survived jail and a recent health scare, he's adamant that there is a role for reformed criminals in construction. All that's missing, perhaps, is a union that's not looking to exploit them as muscle and genuinely lays out a path for young offenders in workplaces like Labor's Big Build.
Doesn't matter if you're on parole, doesn't matter if you're coming out for manslaughter or you're coming out for stealing a car. They need to help out kids that want to change and kids that want a job. Everyone deserves to make money. Everyone deserves to work. I mean, they're not having it given to them. They've got to go there for 8 hours, 12 hours a day. I mean, so give them a crack.
If you've learnt anything from the last year or so, would you do things differently, or should the CFMEU have done things differently?
Oh, for me, I think be careful who you trust. Be careful who you call your brother. They could show more honour to themselves, I guess. If you're going to call someone your brother, back them like your brother. That's all.
Hello, I'm Nick McKenzie. Thanks for watching 60 Minutes Australia. Subscribe to our channel now for brand new stories and exclusive clips every week. And don't miss out on our extra minutes segments and full episodes of 60 Minutes on 9now.com.au and the 9Now app.